You agree we have studied. Okay. Can you tell one by one? Shiva? Print popularize the ideas of. Okay. Print popularize the ideas of enlightenment. I think you will be able to explain this point. Writer's name or philosopher's name, you have to remember. So Voltaire, Montesquieu, that their works you have studied in 9th standard. So this, with the help of printer, their works could be published and spread. Okay. Second point, now Shivam will tell. You are knowing. Shivam, right? Yesterday I told you, no, that 3 points we have discussed. Then you just tell the page that him 151. What's first?
France was the
French Revolution, how print helped. So first point we have written. Second point you have research.
and by the end of the 18th century. So, third point,
Second point.
churches of different.
What you are seeing? Show me. See. This print culture. Why did some historians think that the print culture created conditions? Second point. Print created a new culture of dialogue and debate.
By the 1780s,
Wait, culture of dialogue. After writing this point, how will you explain this point? People got new ideas to express. Sound of reason. For a reason. See, if we gave a chance for the people, that is as new ideas came, they used to discuss about that. Wherever that they get an opportunity, they used to discuss these ideas and that ideas spread. So I have told you dialogue and discussion help to get fresh ideas. We are having one type of ideas. When we are expressing that idea, others are having an entirely different idea. So all these ideas can be expressed when there is print. Understood? So dialogues and discussions or debate. Have you participated in debate? So in the debate, what is the activity going on? People are trying to there is for and against. Present their views. So one topic is if you are in favor of that, you are telling for. Then if you are against, you are telling that this is not the correct You have to prove it. That is whatever you are telling, you have to prove within 2 minutes time. Then the audience also can ask the questions related to what you have expressed. So in that way, so many new ideas are coming. Understood? So that is what the print culture print created a new culture of debate and discussion. Okay, now third point.
By the 1780s, there was an outpouring of literature that showed the royalty and society the
Outpouring of literature
that mocked the royalty.
Mocked
the royalties and criticized.
Okay. Now the institution, two big institutions. These institutions become what happened? That is mockery. That the two big institutions become mockery. Which are the two institutions? Church and royalty. So whatever that through the form of cartoons, caricatures. Do you know what is caricature? So through that they started mocking royalty, telling them they are completely immersed in worldly pressures. So people get new ideas about, oh, is this happening? Yesterday we talked about something. So when such kind of articles, pictures, caricatures come out, people get new ideas. Okay. So that is what the three reasons to tell that it has been the French Revolution. Now we are going to the other side of it. There are people who are not agreeing upon that print created that condition. Okay. Now you read it. How to type of argument that is after that argument. What?
After it started repeat.
Last chapter and some more that map also I have to teach. Something else. We have to start 19th century. So here there are some more arguments. What are those arguments? There can be no doubt that a print help the spread of ideas. Okay, that one side we agree with that print has been spreading the ideas, but at the same time, that is the opposite side of it. So these 3 points are the arguments in favor. There are some arguments against that. Have you got it? Read it. There can be no doubt that print helped the spread of ideas, but people did not read just one kind of literature. Underline this point. They did not read just one type of literature. If they read the ideas of Voltaire and Rousseau, they were exposed to monarchy and church propaganda. Wait. See, people read all types of books. If they are reading the works of Voltaire and Rousseau, they are having the chance of reading what is published by church and monarchy. Now, when church and monarchy are writing or publishing the things, they will tell in their favor only. Yesterday, when we discussed about that, his views he is telling, the others will tell about their views. So that may be critical about the person's view, Radhi. So the same way here, when Rousseau's and Voltaire's works, when we are reading, we are having chances to read that works published by church and monarchy. So then we get an entirely different idea and we start thinking which one is right. So we cannot tell that exactly because of this one, exactly because of this, the French Revolution has started. So one view is got. Next point. They were not influenced directly by everything they read or saw. So second point. They accepted some ideas and rejected others. They interpreted things their own way. See, second point, you have to mark like that. Directly, people are not influenced by what they are reading. They have their own viewpoints. They interpret the things in their viewpoint. Okay, so that is why some ideas they accept and some they reject. Are you underlining the points? Okay. Trend did not directly shape their minds, but it did open up the possibility of thinking different. So it did not directly help in revolting. That is when you are reading the works of Rousseau, so immediately we are not jumping into action. But it helps us to evolve certain ideas. So it helps us to think in a different way. So what we are reading immediately. So if you are reading a kind of detective novel, next morning you will not go out and start becoming a detective. Will you? Okay. So what is that? We are not jumping into action when we read a book. We are not going to be a detective if you read detective novels. Understood? But it helps us to think in a different way. Sometimes nowadays we know that there's so many type of fraudulent activities. If you are using a mobile, you can come to know that fraud calls used to come. They used to just I got message in your account that 50,000 is deposited. So I did not, if I am activating it, God. So that is why we get a chance to think that is what is right. That is what thinking capacity we get. Otherwise, we are not directly influenced by just reading a book or a paper. Got that 3 plus 3 is 6 points. So when you are asking, you can write that is if you are agreeing, you can write I do agree that. So then the first 3 points you can write. If you are writing that I don't agree with that. So the other 3 points. It is not making or shaping your thought completely. You are seeing and it helps us to think in a different way. Clear? Now we are going to see the 19th century. You read. First. See, this is sequence. After completing the next part.
And this first point,
Huh?
the 19th century for the past
Yes.
in mass literacy in Europe, believing large number of new leaders among children, students, and workers.
See, new readers can be seen in the 19th century. Who were these new readers? They were children, women, and workers. Okay. Children.
Children, women, and workers. As primary education became compulsory for late 19th century, children became an important category of readers. Production of school textbooks became critical for publishing industry. And the children press devoted to literature for children alone was set up in France in 1957.
So children literature book started publishing in 1857 in France. Underline. Exclusively for children literature, the books, a printing press started in 1857. Okay. Continue.
This press published new worker as well as
Works
as well as old fairy tales and folk.
What is fairy tale? Can you give an example? Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, and girl is there. She's was girls to sleep for 100 years, and she would be only woken up by 2 years. Okay. So what is that? It is the imagination of certain people, but it creates an interest among now also. You see that Alice in Wonderland now also it attract our attention. Whatever stories are the old fairy tales, this give interest among the children, not only the children, among all. Okay. Now next.
The Green brothers in Germany spent years compiling traditional folktales gathered from events.
Who started the gathering that folktales? Green brothers.
What they collected was edited before the stories were published in collection in
1812. Okay. They published it in 1812, but before itself edited, because it was collected from common people, farmers, peasants, and all, locals. So that as it is cannot be published, because the way of conversation is not like the print. The words, colloquial languages, all these things had to be edited and then only published in 1812. Anything?
Anything that was considered unsuitable for children would appear vulgar to the
Elites.
Was not included in the published version.
So what is that? Children, whether this particular part could be read or not. So elders, elites means hierarchs or the upper classes. They used to read it first. And if they feel that it is vulgar for children, so that is deleted. And then only final part is published. Rural folk.
Rural folk tales thus required a new form. In this way, print recorded old tales but also changed them.
So when it was published, it got a new format. See, we never, when we are hearing the stories, we never think whether it is practical or not. In childhood, we used to read such kind of fairy tales. In that, girl hid inside a pumpkin and rolled downward and down. So practically, whether it is possible, we never think. But we read and enjoy that stories. This is what the beauty of fairy tales and folk tales. Then some of the stories are the that is shepherd and what is that? Horse, like that. Ready? So all these type of stories, whether it is practical or not, that practicality we never think, but we read and enjoy the stories. That is why new types of publications came into. Okay.
So, women became important as readers as well as writers. Many magazines were especially meant for women as well managers teaching progress, behavior, and housekeeping.
So what all things are there? Penny magazine, one penny is the cost of that magazine. So women used to read it during their leisure times. Then secondly, there are manuals which teach them proper behavior and housekeeping. So these are small books used to be. See, I don't know whether you travel by train or not, long distance train. So we used to get the small books. Then some people used to come, some salesmen, when the station come. So many books used to be there. They used to keep and go. We select the books. While traveling, I used to collect so many books. 10 rupee, 20 rupee, very small books. For time pass purpose. It is not at all a story, but the time pass is there. So, like that, there's so many books are there about cookery. That is small ideas about how to take proportion and this, what is that? Cockroaches are there, or the rats are small ideas are there. So, this type of books we used to collect and read. Actually, more than that, we may be doing. Or we know that if we search in the Google, we will get some answers. But still, this is one habit of the people to pass the leisure times. Okay. What all etiquette is there and housekeeping. Next.
The novels begin in the 19th century. Women were seen as important readers. Some of the best novels were when Jane Austen.
Underline that names.
Jane Austen, her blonde sisters, George Eliot.
There are 3 persons. Women writers. George Eliot don't think that it is not a woman that name. We feel that a man. No. 3 famous writers, Jane Austen, Brown sisters, and George Eliot.
The writing became important in defining a new kind of woman, a person with very strength of personality, determination, and power to think.
Underline what was the content of the writing. A woman with the will, strength of personality, determination, and power to think. Earlier, women were considered as the persons to stay inside the 4 walls of the house. They have to take care of the children. They have to look after the house. They were not sent to get education. They were forced to marry. All these were the conditions in the earlier time. Now, a new type of woman came, a woman with willpower, determination, strength of personality, and a power to think. Underline this point. Ah.
Dental libraries continued in existence from the 17th century onwards. In the 19th century, dental libraries in England became instruments for educating white collar workers, artisans, and lower middle class people.
So, who is that white collar workers? See, those who are working in offices, it become a phrase that they are not doing any physical work. So because of that, their collars are not getting working. That is white collar. There was another reason to get those who are working in dockyards and other places, they have a different type of dress. That is full covered. You have learned sans floaters. 9th standard, you have learned about sans floaters. The same way, the full type of dress. So from that, those who are working in the offices, they are not doing physical work. So that is why this job is considered as white collar jobs. Got it clear? Brilliant.
Sometimes self-educating working class people work for themselves after the working was gradually shortened from the mid-19th century. Workers had some time for self-improvement and self-expression. They wrote political drafts and
So they got a lot of leisure time, and that time was utilized for self-improvement and self-expression. See, earlier women were considered as that not having any ability to think, ability to write or ability to express. Now they become the persons to write and think and express their opinions. The same is the case of workers. At that time, workers had a very long time of work. They did not get any leisure time. So when the working time was shortened, they got leisure times, and these leisure times were utilized for self-expression and self-improvement. Okay, now we are going to see about the new innovations. Very carefully you have to read so that all points you have to mark also.
By the late 18th century, the press came to be made out of metal. Through the 19th century,
So metallic press, which century? 18th century.
through the 19th century, there was a series of further innovations in printing technology. By the mid-19th century, Richard M. Poe of New York had perfected the power-driven cylindrical press.
So Richard M. Poe that perfected the power-driven cylindrical presses. That was one innovation.
This was capable of printing 8,000 sheets per hour.
Power-driven cylindrical press was able to print how many copies? 8,000 sheets in 1 hour. Okay.
This press was particularly useful for printing newspapers. In the late 19th century, the offset press was developed, which could print up to 6 colors at a time.
Next, late 19th century, offset printing press. We know that in newspapers and all, different colors were used, and the articles were made in different places, arranged in that. So at a time, these all things could be done. That is why second main innovation was that offset press. Offset press was able to print 6 colors at a time.
From the turn of the 20th century, electrically operated presses accelerated printing operation.
So electrically operated presses Accelerated means speed up the printing operations. So next development.
A series of other developments follow. Methods of feeding paper improve.
Next development one by one. Method of feeding the paper improved.
The quality of plates became better.
Quality of plates.
Automatic paper reels and photoelectric controls of the color register were introduced.
These all changes came in the 20th century. See, when we go to take Xeroxes, there are different types of Xerox machines. So that at this time, if you want 100 copies, that way machines are there. At this time, if you want only one copy, that type of machine is there. At this time, color print and or black and white print is required. That type of machines are there. So all these, how the papers are fed, how this what is that, the coloring board is there. All these are different innovations. So you just imagine how it works. So many ways, that is earlier I have seen cyclostyling machine. Have you heard about cyclostyling machine? Cyclostyling machine is just with by hand, this one is rotated and one kind of ink is applied on it and the paper is pasted on it. Then when it is rotated, then the print is to come. That is what is cyclostyling. From the so many ways that now we sit in front of the computer, you just give the instruction, somewhere the print will go. So these all changes are the different ways the improvement happened from 18th century to 20th century. The same is the in photos also. Photo. Earlier type of cameras have you seen? Nowadays camera is not required. When you are purchasing a mobile, you are looking at the camera quality. Because more than the other work, you need photos to be. So in that also you can make so many things. You are taking a snap and at the same time this different features are added to it. So this way print also have evolved through all the stages. And now we have reached in this particular 21st century and still innovations are going on. Okay.
The accumulation of several individual mechanical improvements transformed the appearance of printed text.
Now text materials also appearance began to change. Earlier people used to write. It was called a manuscripts. And now the styles and fonts also changed. What type of style you want, what font you require, accordingly you can print it. You don't have to make a stylish writing. It can be availed in the computers and other printing devices. Okay, next. So yes, printers and publishers continues to develop a new strategy to sell their product. 19th century realized important novels which gave birth to a particular way of writing novel. Say, what is that? Instead of writing a big book, novel. Novel means a long story. So instead of making and completing that whole story at a stretch, now they introduce serialized part by part. I have told you yesterday that is very eager to get the next big magazine has to come. So till getting the next week, we are thinking about that what happened to that person, what happened to that girl, whether that girl is saved or not. But next week also they will not be saved. Understood? So curiosity of the people are generated. This is what a serialized novels. So it created interest among the readers. Okay, continue.
In 1920s, in England, a popular works were sold in cheap series or the
Shilling.
series.
So shilling, that is just 1 paisa type. That is what a shilling. So 1920s, we have learned penny chapbooks. Afterwards, when we come in the 20th century, we know that that was a period of depression, Great Depression. So they don't want to stop this publication. They want to continue it. So these books were available at 1 shilling. So cheap series. It is not of good quality. So, but still people eager to get that kind of printed work and read.
The dust cover or the book jacket is also a 20th century innovation.
Another dust cover or the book jacket. That book jacket, what is that? Cover of the book. That is with the design or that bind or whatever way that outer cover of the book. So that was also an innovation of the 20th century.
With the onset of the Great Depression in 1930, publisher feared a decline in the book culture. To sustain lives, they brought out the cheap paperback edition.
Now, Great Depression, I have already told you. Great Depression time, they feared that people will not buy the books because money is not with them. So, in the place of book, paperback books, that is not having a bind, not having costly designs and all, then also they published it so that people could continue reading them. Okay. India and the world of
India and the world of print. Manuscripts before the age of print. How ideas and information were written before the age of print. India had a very rich and old tradition of handwritten manuscripts, Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, as well as in various vernacular languages.
So manuscript handwritten. But which all languages it was written? Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, and vernacular languages. Vernacular language, what is vernacular languages? That is whichever languages that Maharashtra, Marathi, so like that.
Manuscripts were copied on palm leaves or handwritten paper.
Manuscripts were on which material they used to write palm leaves. Have you seen that the palm leaves?
Pages were sometimes beautifully illustrated.
So, in order to attract the readers, on paper when they were printing, that illustration, beautiful illustrations were given. By seeing that picture or that illustrations, people purchase them.
They would be either just between wooden covers or spread semen, ensure preservation.
It had to be preserved for a long time. We know that earlier, during the time of kingship and all, all those documents were preserved, written on palm leaves and all. So in order to preserve it, see, various leaves are there. So it has to be stitched together. Then only one after another it can be read. I think I have told you in our place that the initial learning start with this one. The child is taken to a guru, and on first one that the child is taught to write on rice. Then now sand with the fingers. So whatever letters that the child learned, they have to practice at home. So on this palm leaf, this one is written. Otherwise, there was no written book. They have to learn alphabets only. So this palm leaves used to be there. So the child will learn it and practice it on the sand. So a small mat used to be carried by the child to sit. So this, why that finger, when they are straining with the finger, they never make a mistake. It is very painful to write with the fingers. So the neatness also there, the handwriting also will come very beautifully, and the pain always make them to or remind them to write the correct alphabets. So those who have learned like that, they write it beautifully. I haven't got this at school. So, but I have seen my parents and all also have done like that. Handwriting is so beautiful. But nowadays, you are starting to write on what is that? 4 line. But where your direction will go? When after that, I think in KG classes only you are practicing. Afterwards, you are not using. But in our times, we used to use it up to 10 standard. Our this what is that? The local language in 2 lines, Hindi in 2 lines, and English in 4 lines. One page daily we have to write. So that practice make the handwriting very good. There should be that neatness in the handwriting and all. Nowadays, after KG classes, you will draw out that 4 line book and put that out. Then you start the writing in single line. So that is single line, when your writing is there, it will go upside down. And mathematics, we learned there is unruled papers. So unruled papers, we have to perfect in writing. So that way, the habits make the improvement in our learning. So here, why I have mentioned this one, palm leaf, they have to be stitched together, sewed together for preservation purpose. Okay, continue.
Manuscripts continue to produce till after the production of print, down to the late 19th century.
It did not stop. Even after the coming of print also, the manuscripts were there. Now you are going to learn once again what are the problems faced by the manuscript writing.
Manuscripts, however, were highly expensive and
Expensive and fragile. Underline?
they had to be handled carefully and
Second point, they had to be handled
carefully, and they could not be read easily as the scripts were written in different styles. So the manuscripts were not widely used in their everyday life.
So why manuscripts were not used in everyday life? Can you tell? expensive. Fragile, then more points are there. They had to be handled carefully. Would not be read easily. As the script was written in a okay.
Even though the colonial Bengal had developed an extensive network of village primary schools, students were often did not read text. They only learned to write. Teachers dictated portion of text from memory and the students wrote them down. Many thus became literate without ever reading.
Because that time printed books were rare. Only teachers used to have a copy. They learned it and they dictated it to the children, and orally this child listened as well as or whatever knowledge was imparted orally were written down by the child, and from that they started learning. They were not having any books to learn.
Print comes to India. When did
You will continue.
When did printing began in India? The printing press first came to Goa with Portuguese missionaries in the mid-16th century.
So who brought the printing in India?
Portuguese.
Portuguese missionaries in the 16th century to Goa.
Jesuit
Jesuit priests.
Jesuit priests and printed several tracts.
Tract, do you know what is tract? Small articles type on paper, only this tracts were printed. It is not a book. Sometimes in railway stations and all, when you are passing, some tracts will be there. So whatever is that, you will be able to read afterwards. Okay.
By 1674, about 30 books had been printed in Konkani and Kannada language.
Kannada language. Okay. So which are the languages? First books were printed. Konkani and Kannada.
Catholic priests printed the first Tamil book in 1579 at Kochi.
So who printed the first Tamil books? Catholic priest. Then
1579
in Kochi.
and in 1730 the first Malayalam book was printed by them.
1730 the first Malayalam book was printed.
By 1710, Dutch Protestant missionaries had printed 32 Tamil texts, many of them translations of older
Works. Okay. Now, what you have to understand that these people were Portuguese, Dutch, or Italians who came to India, learned the language of India, and wrote the works. So, how much difficulty they have taken? So, we are not able to learn a language which is used in our neighboring state or the state where we are living. I'm living in Maharashtra for so long, and even I can read it, I can understand it, but I cannot write it. So that is what the present day generation is not able to do. But those people, they realize that if they have to spread the religion in this country, they have to first learn the language of the local people. So they learn, and afterwards they printed that also.
The English language spread did not grow in India till quite late, even though the English East India Company began to import this from the late 17th century.
So English East India Company was rolling over India. They brought printing presses to India, but still English materials are not printed. Can you tell what could be the reason?
And because in India, most of the languages are Sanskrit and other.
Indian people speak different languages and
English.
English was not common among the
Immigrants.
so because of that, English language process were not materials were not published.
From 1780s, James Augustus he began to edit Bengal Gazette, a weekly magazine that was described itself as commercial paper, open to all but influenced by none.
See, who published that magazine? James Augustus Hickey. And what was the name of the magazine? Bengal Gazette. And then he himself told that it is a commercial magazine, open to all, but influenced by none. Okay. So that was the first English magazine.
So it was private English enterprise, proud of its independence from colonial influence that began English printing in India. He published a lot of advertisements, including those that related to import and sale of slaves. But he also published a lot of gossip about this company's seniors official in India.
So what agitated the British? So he used to write a lot of gossip about the officers. So they were angered by this kind of gossips. At the same time, he also published the material about the sale of slaves. These all things irritated the officials. Okay. Because of that, what happened?
Enraged by this government, General Warren has persecuted him and encouraged the publications of officially sanctioned newspaper.
Sanctioned newspapers.
That to counter the flow of information that can damage the image of colonial government.
So Augustus Hickey's newspaper was banned. He was persecuted, and Warren Hastings ordered the publication of government-sponsored publication. Afterwards also.
By the close of the 18th century, number of newspaper in general appeared in print. There were Indians too who began to publish Indian newspapers. The first to appear was weekly Bengal Gazette, brought out Gangadhar Acharya, who was close to Rammohan Roy.
So which was the first weekly published by an Indian? Bengal Gazette. Okay. Bengal Gazette was published by an English person named James Augustus Hickey, but an Indian who published the first weekly was Gangadhar Bhattacharya. He was a close associate of Ram. Want start? Okay. Please 1 minute. I don't see. Then MEPs. MEPs is the today, but we not tomorrow chemistry. Which subject? Chemistry. And my exams. Going on. Which subject tomorrow? Tomorrow no, but then arts. So you could attend that operation in the arena. 2 hours में 10 क्वेश्चन होते हैं. और जो सिलेबस में चैप्टर है ना वो वाला वो चैप्टर नहीं था. So you cannot ask the whatever doubts are there that way. It's which part is coming for your exam. So that type of general doubt you cannot ask. Sunday, the PTM. Exam, grade, दूसरे exam. Kanya, exam दूसरे दिन मैथ्स की. कोई दूसरे दिन मैथ्स की exam. So they are coming, no? You are what exam is
I don't have example. School. Normal life periodic test.
which chapter?
Chemistry.
I think it's nice.
On a day.
And have you practiced mirror time? Your papers when they are reading whatever exams over, when you get it.
Because I'm on fourth side exam, I'm getting over fifth school is celebrating teachers day, so they will be at 11. Is that there is only 6 12 hours.
First 80 mark paper.
Yes.
100. You got that